Recently, the Northeast experienced an extended November mild stretch. It was so warm, in fact, that I decided to check out a couple of New York timber rattlesnake den sites to see if the September-like weather would coax any of the snakes to the surface. Typically, most timber rattlesnakes are sheltered deep within their overwintering dens by mid-October and are rarely seen on the surface after the end of the month. Now, the latest I have seen a timber rattlesnake at a natural hibernaculum is October 28. I say natural because I have seen rattlesnakes as late as December, but this was a population that in recent decades began denning in a man-made structure with an artificial heat source. Now, once I actually encountered a healthy-looking November northern copperhead at a Massachusetts den site. This find was particularly surprising since copperheads are less cold tolerant than timber rattlesnakes. This ended up being such a notable field outing that I devoted an entire chapter to it in my book. Well, that one surprising observation has now turned into two. Just the day before heading to New York to try my luck finding November rattlesnakes, I found my second November copperhead, and at the same den I had seen the first one years before. Unfortunately, my boot brushed up against it while it was hidden in the leaf litter, startling it and sending it fleeing down a den pocket hole before I could get my camera out. Okay, to New York. I arrived at the first timber rattlesnake den site on the afternoon of November 9. Getting to the hibernaculum involves an arduous hike up a mountainous ridge. Okay, folks, coming up to the den. Just beyond this cluster of rocks is the cave opening at the base of this ledge. It is very mild out now, about 75 degrees, but I can't stress that it is November and it is still a long shot here. And there is the risk, and there is the possibility, if one is out, it is a ill snake, likely infected with snake fungal disease. Just up and over here. I don't see anything yet. The cave opening is up over here. Okay, so a casual search. I do not see any timber rattlesnakes. But before I go into the cave itself or get a flashlight out, what I'm going to do is have a couple cameras here set up on time lapse. Because as the sun dips lower and lower to the west, and the structure here faces west-southwest, the sunlight really pools into the cave. And I've noticed in October, when I haven't found anything earlier on in the afternoon, they have come out much later in the day when the sunlight really fills in this cave. As the cameras recorded on time-lapse, I really tested my endurance by hiking nearly an hour to reach the second den. I actually ran down a ridge and ran up another ridge. Just saw a yellow one poking its head out, but here's a nice black morph. Looks healthy. And there we go, my first November timber rattlesnake at a natural structure. So check this out. For the nearly 20 minutes I sat with this animal, several camel crickets seemed to take pleasure crawling all over the snake, even playing king of the mountain by fighting off other crickets that attempted to crawl up onto the snake. Here is a yellow timber tucked tight in a crevice just off to the left of the black morph. These snakes held my interest for too long, and the late November afternoon quickly turned to dusk, and I didn't make it back to the first timber rattlesnake den until well after sunset. Alright, finally made it back to the cave. And as you can tell, the sun has set and it is nearly pitch black now. So nothing's going to be out. Even if something was out earlier, they would have crawled back into the den structure. So, you know what we're gonna do? So I'm gonna see if we catch any that maybe were crawling in. They're out a little while ago, or I've done this before, actually. I've crawled pretty far into the cave structure. Careful, there's nothing in the leaves. I think that's there. Oh, Wow, would you look at this? This is so cool. Oh, there's like two. Is there two of them up there? Is that... Oh, wow, this is so cool. I've never seen them this high up. It's way up there. I don't think they go all the way up there. Wow, this is really neat.
Some of their... Sorry if this is a little shaky and stuff. It's hard for me to see and film. But these holes
Down here, there's a big hole here where they come out. Down in there. So, you may have access down that hole, and then through cracks and crevices can get all the way up there. Alright guys, this is awesome.
remainder of the chamber here. It's pretty tight quarters, well, for a human.
There's the GoPro we had set up earlier. And I need to hike out in complete darkness. Obviously I have this flashlight. What a day. What a day. Not sure if I get anything on time lapse. The batteries have died. They'll run for maybe 90 minutes, 2 hours. Unfortunately, the time lapse captured no snakes coming out to bask. Look at the hike I have out. It's not too long, but it is steep. The night hike off the ridge was challenging, and I did slip a few times. But I eventually made it to the bottom of the ridge, and shortly thereafter, I arrived safely back to my car. Despite the long day and added risk, finding November timber rattlesnakes made it worth it. Thank you for tagging along.